You might as well go ahead and stop, grab a bag of popcorn, because we're going to be here for a nice minute. My name is Panache Sage. Today, I decided to take this deep dive into the bizarre lore of Fortnite. And I was just like, you know what? It'd be funny if I sat down and reacted to the entire lore of Fortnite. Because at this point, Fortnite has to be one of the most complex fictional series of all time. I take that back, FNAF absolutely exists. But it gotta be up there though. This video is like almost an hour long. So I probably won't be doing many pausing in the video. I don't mean to sound like one of them old dudes, but
back in my day,
I started playing Chapter 1, Season 3. I kind of stopped playing the game around Chapter 2, Season 2. And a lot of people argue it's like one of the greatest seasons ever. I just kind of stopped playing Fortnite around that time period. I started playing for like a month in like October, November of 2022. So whatever season was then, and then ever since then I just stopped. So I haven't really been locked into Fortnite. If you don't count that random 2022 run, I haven't been locked into Fortnite like over fucking 5 years. So it's gonna be extremely crazy. But I don't want to waste my guys' time. Be sure to hit the subscribe button. After all that, we can get straight into the video. All right, this is an hour long. Let's try to pause.
You already know what Fortnite is. We can skip the intro. Hi everybody, I'm here on vacation, and I gotta take breaks every once in a while. All right, let's start. Our first time point is a simple one: the Big Bang. When the big old bang happened, the universe.
I know that event.
Not existing to probably existing. The universe would build itself, it would grow, it would evolve, so on and so forth. It's why we all exist now. However, before the Big Bang, there was the nothing. This being the concept of nothing, the concept of not existing as a cosmic entity that existed for an undetermined amount of time. So when the bang decides to big, it suddenly produced the 0 point as a second unfathomably powerful omnipotent being. We don't really know what it is, but it sure is. The 0 point is the polar opposite of the nothing, and supposedly is capable of linking together every universe that has shown up since the Big Bang.
So the 0 point's responsible for why these people are here.
Through the 0 point, through like reality shenanigans. Now this would be the case for about 99.9999998% of all of time. We're already almost done with the timeline. No, I'm just messing with you. The last 0.0000002% is where things start falling apart. One day, possibly thousands of years ago, a faction showed up called the Imagined Order, led by this guy named Gino.
Bro, I didn't.
The perfect genetic society. And so he took a nice old gander at the 0 point and was all like, ah, crackers, man, we gotta get that blue stuff and put it in a box. So they got that blue stuff and they put it in a box, trapping the 0 point in this place called the Bridge. Alongside Gino, members include his two daughters, the Imagined and the Order. Great names. I'm sure he thought real hard about those ones. We also got Dr. Sloan as a second in command, alongside Agent John Jones, who in terms of being important to the Imagined Order, he's just okay. But in this overall tale, he's a special little friend who we will all love by the end. The Order sends Agent Jones to be experimented on in the 0 point. In response, it creates a new type of person called a snapshot, with this snapshot being Jonesy the First. Just good old default player. Physically, Jonesy the First was
but he experimented, and that's why there's so many Jonesies.
Run over in the deep Midwest. The Order then continues to learn and use the 0 point, firmly grasping and taming what can only be described as the mother of everything to ever. Eventually, with all this new stuff learned, the Imagined Order is going to go and create the most despicable and rotten and mischievous thing comprehensible with this silly old blob of blue, and for thousands of years forced the creation of the Loop, which involves abusing the 0 point to grab worthy-ish people from all kinds of realities and universes where they would fight for 22-minute cycles in the Battle Royale gameplay, where top combatants might just get recruited.
Okay, I like how there's lore explained in the DLC, or not DLC, but the guest characters.
No consequence. For example, Batman does it, so it just requires Batman level skill. If you want to know what the Loop is like, just go play Fortnite. That's what the Loop is. Like, every game is canon, every death is canon, and the storm is like an extra thing that comes from the Loop, preparing to happen over and over until potentially the end of time itself. And all of this has been taking place located at the center of it all at Reality Zero, the name for this location, for this cycle, for this sick and twisted plan the Imagined Order is brewing in the demonic realm of Fortnite. Every person stuck on the island is referred to as a looper. They lose a good chunk of their memories, and with very, very few exceptions, unless they break out of the loop, are unable to speak. Now, the Imagined Order, I won't lie, they've been kind of uncool fellas this whole time, with the whole never-ending fight to the death thing, and it gets especially bad when a looper gets to leave the loop. Snapshots then show up. Treat all of this stuff like catch-alls and ways to justify all of these characters and crossovers being able to stay in the game for so long without any issues in their respective existences. Marvel, DC, Star Wars, sports, Capcom, basically literally anything that
everything.
Nintendo,
Name someone who isn't in
people
Fortnite, bro. I'm finna pause.
One way or another.
I'm pretty sure that if you dig deep enough, I'm probably in Fortnite. Okay, bro. At this point, if you're not in Fortnite, what are you doing?
Their characters will win relatively early on, and then an endless supply of them are going to show up via snapshots. Or not. You know, it's completely illogical and stupid when these characters are all canon and count and show up in each battle pass. It's stupid. It's dumb. I don't like it already. The problem with a lot of these characters is that they can be taken at points where it completely obliterates their respective narratives. With all superheroes, it's not a big deal, but you can make a new Superman, you can make a new Iron Man, it's fine. The same thing happens with Rick and Morty. It's technically...
I mean, yeah, they do this in Rick and Morty.
Infinite Ricks, infinite Mortys, so it makes sense. But then we got Peter Griffin, and Family Guy will collapse upon itself without Peter Griffin. And then we also got, like, all the anime characters who are taken in their prime.
Yeah, the anime characters gets a little bit weird.
Spider people who are established and emphasized
now, that does make sense
to their worlds. What do you do then? What's going to happen when Sonic bounces around in Fortnite land?
Sonic isn't in Fortnite.
Honestly,
oh, no, he will be. Don't worry about it.
The multiverse story is that you can just say a multiverse happened, and that removes all need to make confidence where these characters come from. We can just say they got taken from different worlds from the main ones, and it's fine, you know? Plus, Fortnite doesn't respond to my DMs, so I guess we'll never know. I just gotta stress this. The Imagined Order's been in control for millennia. They've been out and about stealing as many people as possible from all kinds of realities just because it's funny. The problem with having infinite people getting stuck in your loop is that eventually the infinite people stuck in your loop are gonna accumulate at least a few who are gonna resist the very thing you got going on.
I'm pretty sure half
this 7. We got a team
of the guest characters probably gonna resist. Like Kratos? Come on, man.
So all universes can finally stop being dragged into Fortnite. First up, we got the Foundation. This is Dwayne Johnson. This is the leader. We don't gotta worry about this.
Oh my god. I'm so fucking mad that the fucking Rock plays a part in this fucking lore. Like, oh my god, man. Oh my god. Like, I don't I can't even fucking get it out. I can't get it out.
That one, I'm not. If I mispronounce it, it's fine. I'm told she does cool stuff. Then there's the scientist. He's a scientist.
I have him.
The Imagined and the Order will leave the Imagined Order just out of guilt. Good for them. And then there's the Origin and the Visitor.
I have the Visitor.
Save until we get there.
The Visitor was the first one that came out.
We also got to deal with the last reality. This basically being the folks who work with the Nothing. See, Nothing in 0 Point got a lot of beef. The 0 Point keeps making life. The Nothing wants Nothing to be around. So the Nothing nabbed an army capable of sending things like zombies and Kevin the Cube to goof up the Imagined Order's testing of the loop. So the Nothing has agreed to spare this reality just so the rest of it can be nothing. The last reality as such has a simple goal. Make every other reality freaking die. And so, Reality 0 has to go. They really only have 2 characters of importance right now, those being the Cube King and the Cube Queen. And even then,
the Cube Queen is actually bad as shit.
He realized, wait a second, every other reality besides mine is a lot of deaths on my hands. I don't know if I like that very much. And he didn't. He didn't like that very much. Instead, he grabbed one of those sticks and blanket things I see in every cartoon, but I don't know what they're called. And then the Cube
Who knows what those are called, bro?
Joins the 7 and becomes the Origin. And with all of that being said, we have now finished the prologue.
The prologue!
That was revealed slowly across the years.
I don't know why my ass thinking that was like half of the lore.
So we don't need to backtrack. We are now officially at the start of the game on July 21st, 2017.
Let's go, baby.
Chapter 1.
I love Chapter 1.
For the first 6 months, we witnessed what's really just fighting without rhyme or reason. At this time, we don't know what's going on, but nowadays we can...
If I'm being honest with you, I miss Fortnite where it was like this.
Purgatory. The only thing I remember about this era was all the empty mountains on the west. Why were there so many mountains? There was only like 2.
Yeah, it was like 0 POIs back then.
Did they just forget to add more? I remember I got my first solo win right here, and then I got Black Knight because I grew up in an isolated house in the woods. There was no neighborhood kids, only Fortnite, the walls, and the voices in my head. In actuality, I
didn't get a chance to get the Black Knight. I played season 3.
To season 3 and 4.
That's the season I started.
On March 20th, 2018, a giant meteor made its merry way into Fortnitopia and decimates Dusty Depot. Now, in this meteor, the Visitor somehow found his way into the rock and for a time becomes subjected to suffering in the loop. All while this is happening, funny Fortnite people are superheroes. And then it's revealed that this is not real. None of this is real. There will never, ever be superheroes in Fortnite. Just give it like 2 seasons.
Yeah, give it just like, at that point, about 5 seasons.
Reprogram a prop rocket used in the movie to go back to his home base, and after being trapped on the island for about 3 months, is able to escape. but he causes a rift so rifty and sticky it starts snatching things up from all kinds of realities, with the most impactful one being a portion of the California desert, swapping places with the ever iconic location Moisty Mire.
Hey, Moisty Mire is a great location
in California. Out of all buildings, all the gunk taken, we only know about one real-world person being taken by the rift. They go by Drift, who across the loading screens tragically converts to the ways of Fortnite, once being a bystander, now stuck as a cog in the loop. It's a lovely summer.
High key, I'm gonna pause again. I'm gonna have to argue that Drift is probably a top 5 Fortnite skin. And I know there's a lot of Fortnite skins that came out in the past 5 years, because again, I kind of stopped playing Fortnite around like early 2020, but I would still argue Drift is a top 5 Fortnite skin of all time. If y'all wasn't there when Drift like released in season 5, oh my god, bro, the hype around that skin was insane.
Rift and all of his new pals go on wacky adventures across the island every 22 minutes until the Rift strikes a mighty lightning in the California desert, and out pops Kevin the Cube. Now, Kevin,
I remember when the community named the Cube Kevin.
Take a brave journey to each major end of the island, one step at a time. Each step being extremely big and physics-defying, and usually like 1 or 2 hours apart. Along the way, he would leave some runes on the ground and slaughter any poor loopers who dare defy him by shooting them and killing them.
Yeah, I shot Kevin. I regretted it too.
Voyage, he ends up at Loot Lake, where Kevin would then dissolve into Loot Lake and contaminate the water supply like any cube would. Now, permanently damaging a major body of water was not enough to satisfy Kevin, so he decides that the lovely little house in the middle was going to be a floating island from now on. And so Kevin's island would then become a viable Smash Bros stage. If Fortnite ever gets added, it'll be
that would be a nice Smash Bros stage. Now I think about it. High key needed to do that.
He makes his merry way all around Fortnite, getting more and more powerful until near Halloween. We got Fortnitemares 2018, where Kevin would go back to the big crater he left behind in Loot Lake.
It was beautiful. It was such a beautiful event, y'all.
Cube monsters. This makes Kevin leak, but it ends up doing quite a number to our QB pal. Kevin starts dying, and then he explodes, and all of the loopers are brought to this new dimension, the in-between, where this crystal butterfly flaps all over Fortnite and all the Fortnite friends and transports them back into a beautiful Loot Lake. Wow, what a lovely time. I'm sure glad that that's all over and Purgatory can continue. I'm sure from here on out, nothing else is gonna happen ever again.
Yeah, it continued to happen.
This is the point where Santa would invade Fortnite. This is Sergeant.
I forgot that Santa was in that Season 7 Battle Pass.
Of Santa. He seems pretty cool. I'll give him like an 8 out of 10 as a Santa. The big event of the season is that the bottom left of the map has a giant iceberg collide that everyone just rolls with for no real reason. Greasy Grove is frozen over, Flush Factory is gone, even though, be honest,
Season 7 is actually a great season. At the time, people was complaining about how long it was, but it was still cool.
Ice and a giant monster. What are you? Well,
the sword was annoying, but
won't know. Well, not yet, at least. Really, all that you gotta know is that the island thaws out as the season continues. So by the end, it's just another thing we gotta deal with. A consequence of this that literally nobody had control over, nobody could say anything about, just had to watch in horror. There's this fire guy, and he looks at the Ice King, the one of this season, and on the opposite side of the map, and he goes, "Well, I'm gonna do that, but also the opposite of that. Yes, sirree. I'm fire. Fire versus ice. This is what season 8 is going to be about, probably. The prisoner then starts a wildfire, burning all of Wailing Woods in the process. What a dick. By the way, the prisoner is also the Fire King, so he reclaims that in that section of the island.
Really? Is that what happened? I never knew that he was the Fire King. I never knew that.
This is unacceptable. See, the Imagined Order doesn't quite like new stuff going on. They were fine with the iceberg collision. They were fine with the giant purple cube crushing people and bringing monsters and zombies to destroy everything mid-season, but a volcano? Oh, hell no. So the Order starts preparing excavations across the island just as a precaution to prevent an eruption, and they also discover a vault under Loot Lake, and this was just a whole disaster for the Imagined Order. Like, the loopers find out about the vault, and considering a majority of the player base had the same level of distraction as a moth to a source of light, or your mother with a college fraternity house, the first instinct was to dive right in without any concern for their well-being. So
I did
inside
it.
the vault, we have a bunch of items that were taken out of the game, along with a desk, a helmet, and the 0 point. Hi, 0 point. It doesn't do that much right now. It offers a cigarette, but we believe in abstinence, so it gets a little upset and it kicks us out. But the Fire King, knowing the entire community and population was more concerned about the scary white and blue void with that big blue ball of omnipotence, it then decided it would now be a good idea to erupt the volcano. It deliberately backfires, but just enough to where it breaks even. We lose Retail Row, we lose Tilted Towers for real this time. We had a scare with Kevin, but it only destroyed like this one building that gets destroyed all the time. And
this building does get destroyed a lot.
Taking out the monster underneath. And that was a lot. Let's take a quick breather and enter the minds of some of the unfortunate loopers caught in this horrible attack. We have Jonesy the First, and we have Peely. Now, Peely is a sentient banana man. Like it or not, we are stuck with him. I don't really care for Peely, and I'm tired of pretending I do. Peely has always felt like an industry plant to me. It's
oh my god, bro. Hey, man, I like this guy, man. I like this guy a lot, bro. He's spitting facts, bro. I feel the exact same way about Peely, bro. I never gave that much of a fuck about Peely. I never thought the skin was that funny. I never thought Peely was that cool looking. But yes, we are stuck with Peely. He has became one of the mascots of Fortnite. And Peely is definitely an industry plant. 100,000%. Fish sticks, I want to clarify something. I remember when Fish sticks first came out, right? Which was season 8. I mean, it was season 7. No, I think it was season 7 when he first came out. People was clowning about how ugly that fucking skin was, and people was talking about like the worst skin of Fortnite. But all the memes eventually boosted his popularity and made him popular amongst the community, right? He went from a skin that no one wanted to a skin that everybody wanted. I'm guilty because I bought him too. But yeah, I like Fish sticks more than I like Peely. Peely is an industry plant. I don't give a fuck about Peely, bro.
Like Fish Stick, I think he's silly, but Peely is not that. He is worse. Jonesy and Peely run into a hidden bunker. They find a nice little hangout zone. Only problem is that there's no food. I'm gonna mark this one up as cannibalism. And then
yeah, that's right. Season 9, the worst Fortnite season, man. I hated season 9.
9 time. And I'm just gonna assume the exact situation happens to every other looper, so we don't know what was happening in between. This might be a plot hole or something. Yeah, I don't know how the 22-minute loop could cause the construction to occur of all of this stuff. There are
oh my god, season 9 was such a shit season. Fortnite. They vaulted the pump shotgun.
I'm just gonna ignore it. And this fixes everything. All broken buildings have now been improved. I don't think there's anything to the Polar Peak monster somehow.
That was the only good thing about season 9 was this fucking live action event.
Prisoner, so he's no longer important. And then the Imagined Order decided to make the volcano into another base in case anything else happens. I'm sure that won't happen. Something like this will happen every 2 months until the end of time or until Fortnite dies, whichever comes first.
The end of time's gonna come first. Trust me.
The Polar Peak monster, the devourer, it wants to get to the zero.
Bro, this was that live event was so hype.
With that idea, so they're gonna go over and end its life. And they build a Fortnite Mechazord.
Dude, I have this. I was there. It's on my YouTube channel, bro.
Intense 1v1. Somehow 0 casualties, like it matters. It doesn't. And in the end, the IO Mech wins when it pulls a sword out of Neo Tilted and fatally ends the beast with the help of the 0 point. In exchange, the 0 point is now exposed. And without the vault, reality starts falling in upon itself, and it takes us straight to Season X. Oh, alright,
I want to say something. Season X was a very controversial season. During the time, people didn't like it, and I don't know if people still like it to this day. I actually like Season X. The mech was annoying, yes. But, like, if you had a boogie bomb, it wasn't really that much of a problem, okay? People didn't like the Season X Battle Pass. It was just a big remix of a bunch of other Fortnite skins. But I liked it, because Season X was the last season of Chapter 1 Fortnite, which Chapter 1 Fortnite was one of the greatest Fortnite seasons. One of the greatest periods of time of gaming ever. So for them to remix all the skins before, I thought it was pretty cool.
But the mech was piloted by that one. So all the other members of the 7 think she might be a traitor. We can ignore that until it's convenient. This is where the 7 really start to make some moves. Time starts crumbling a bit, and Dusty Depot makes a temporary return. Along with that,
Dusty Depot and Loki is an overrated POI. It's just nostalgia.
Being stuck, we got to deal with the scientist. And the Imagined Order, knowing this, starts to use the mech to trap the loopers. And it works a little too well, because these mechs are considered overpowered.
Yeah, people hated the mechs.
Thank you, non-casual players. You have done exactly one good thing for the game of Fortnite. Now, before the scientist
it wasn't that bad to me, but they was overpowered.
To remind his forgetful self on what to do. We also learn here that the visitor got to skip on the looping antics because he entered mid-recess. I think. Yeah, sure. There's a lot. I'll take a B+. So the scientist comes in, he boop bops the rocket, and the island finale begins to come down. And as every other member member of the Seven. They fly down, and before you know it, 0 Point gets hit by the Dusty Depot meteor, and in response, it real quick forces everybody into a black hole so it can take a breather.
I remember this live event. People thought Fortnite was actually over with.
2 real-world days. Middle schoolers across the globe were in shambles.
Yeah, they couldn't play Fortnite for 2 days.
Okay, that's not how companies work. It's been well established at this point that Fortnite is a powerhouse when it comes to making money. I mean, look at the collapse. There, of course, were some across Chapter 1. Nothing too crazy, though. Just some more casual things. Back then, it was a rarity. Nowadays, it's a bi-weekly event that we can expect consistently forever. And of Chapter 1, I would say the most impactful of these crossovers would be Batman's involvement. Now, Batman, along with a lot of collapse...
Now, I want to clarify something really quick. Yeah, I don't know why people thought Fortnite was going to come to an end. I didn't. I was like, it's going to come back. Just give it time.
Important to the story to an extent. And here, it's mostly for the purpose of making Tilted Towers into Gotham for a bit. Just be ready.
I mean, Tilted Towers is always Gotham, to be honest.
And that takes us to the start of Chapter 2 on October 15th of 2019. All I can really describe Chapter 2 is just wonderful. I really love this chapter. I have as much nostalgia as the next guy, but it truly felt like every couple weeks there was something new appearing, and then you could just innovate and mess with the game because of that. And it's really funny seeing this.
Chapter 2 was cool. I think the first half of Chapter 2 is better than the second half.
Failing to do it. It's not hard to see why Fortnite is at the position it is now. So Chapter 2 Season 1 is more of a welcome back thing. Not too much to swallow, more just introducing all the new funny things to be implemented and seen in the future. But Chapter 2 Season 2 is where Fortnite really starts getting into that modern day rhythm. Across this period, 2 factions would fight and make it everybody else's problem. Ghost and Shadow. And even though this is a battle between agents who appear on both sides of the same place nonstop, who seemingly make no progress on either side, in actuality, this is all a trick.
Yeah, this is around time I stopped playing Fortnite.
This is Midas, the man responsible for this fake fight. While all this was going on, Midas was able to build a device cleverly named the Device. And in the end, Deadpool infiltrates their operation.
Great name.
Takes over a yacht, this does not matter, and the season ends at Midas's base with it actually being used. And then it's revealed this was all done in an attempt to hold off the storm and finally end the loop. It
didn't work though.
Yeah,
but it didn't work.
Get sent to the IO offices and see John Jones trying to get the loop back in order and completely struggling. And Midas would have won here. He would have had no issues, but by pure chance, a gigantic flood sweeps over the island and ruins Midas's chance of
the period of time where the flood was the storm was peak.
Thus begins
the entirety of Season 3. They should have had the storm be the flood. When the flood was the storm, it was beautiful. I liked the way how it looked. Matter of fact, I wish there was a way we can customize the way how the storm looks, but
flooding over time, we can kind of just ignore that for now. I have to be honest with you for a minute, though. No matter how you cut it, comics are pretty important to the story of Fortnite. And
yeah, they pretty much are.
For seasons, Marvel's been having a story worth looking at. See, Thor, Marvel's Thor, has become the king of his home of Asgard, and life's been going pretty good for him. That is, until Galactus, the same Galactus who beat my ass in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, the same Galactus who the MCU is gonna butcher. That Galactus, he's out and about chewing and chomping on planets like the big boy he is. He decides to alert Thor about the Black Winter, which is going to destroy everything it can possible, and hesitantly, Thor gets to work finding 5 unpopulated planets that Galactus can gobble down so he can get strong enough to take down the Black Winter. And it goes well, but near the end of Season X, the Black Hole event starts, a rift appears, and Galactus feels the energy of the 0 Point within it. And his tummy starts rumbling.
Is this actually in Marvel Comics with Fortnite, isn't it?
He's so hungry, he wants to eat the most powerful thing in the Omniverse. But Thor isn't a big fan of that, so he then spends a year zooming into the loop, completely ignores the memory stuff that's starting to stop.
Yo, they actually made a Marvel comic about this?
Summons as many Marvel heroes as possible to fit into the battle pass and also stop Galactus. It's very convenient how they work together. Chapter 2.
Wow.
4,
okay.
August
Marvel actually is dead ass important to Fortnite.
Season, a whole batch of Marvel characters all show up with a single objective of preparing for Galactus's hangry harassment of Fortnite. Honestly, they struggle a bit on account of failing to the loop. My logic is that they all kept working through the storm, would die, and then respawn, and you know, it's a very annoying process. Tony Stark, Iron Man, whatever you want to say, he in specific is able to use the Rift powers to get Stark Industries in the island and also get himself out of the loop. Meanwhile, Doctor Doom takes over Pleasant Park. This will be relevant in about 4 4 years. So Galactus takes
just about 4 years.
But he does get there, and the fight goes pretty well. Loopers all got their own battle buses with bombs duct taped to them all. I don't know how they got
I was there for the live event too. It was pretty fun.
Well. Galactus eats all the buses going for the 0 point and ends up exploding and falling out of the domain. Hooray, said everybody else. I sure am glad we have Iron Man making stuff now. Maybe we can all escape the loop now that we have an Iron Man on the land. But that didn't happen. It never has, and it never will. The Imagined Order is pissed. They're a bit grumpy, a bit grouchy, and Agent Jones gets a phone call and a new mission, probably from Gino. See, the 0 point is once again exposed and to an extent weakened from the Galactus attack. Agent Jones is now given the task to recruit a whole bunch of people to stop the loopers from escaping, being given a portal gun that also makes him immune to looping. I'm taking this as the idea that the Imagined Order immediately recruited a bunch of people, and anyone who gets added in this specific season becomes an advocate for the IO. In other words, Kratos got very lucky with his networking. The only exception is Master Chief, because he was stuck in a gas station display door. Additional hunters of the IO include Xenomorphs, Daryl Dixon, the Mandalorian, Chun-Li, I think, Tron,
and just about everybody else, honestly.
And this Pancake Man, they are letting anybody in. And
I'm telling you, bro, they're letting anybody in Fortnite nowadays, bro.
Rifts open, and this successfully upsets the 0 point. Good job, Jones. The 0 point is now dying, and it's entirely your fault. Instead of curling up into a ball and crying like a little baby, Jones goes completely against what he's done up to this point and fights against all his just personally hired hunters as he throws the portal gun into the 0 point, and as he's doing this, Ryu from Street Fighter kills Peely. This is my hero.
He said this is my hero. That's funny.
With it arrives the Seven's leader, the Foundation. Oh my god, I completely forgot that the 7 were here. Foundation strangles Jones, and they become pals immediately after, as Jones ditches the Imagined Order. All the while, the reality point still continues to break as reality shards show up across the area for a minute. Jones turns into a butterfly, making the closed reality destruction everybody else's problem. As the last resort, the Foundation decides to hold the 0 point together in this big bundle of chromium and saves the day. In exchange, anyone who's entered the island throughout the season are now members of the loop. Oops. And that takes us to Chapter 2, Season 6. I don't really care for this one. This feels like an intermission season.
I don't really, that was a pretty weak season, I'm not gonna lie. I barely played it.
Relevant again. There's this guy, Raz. He
was cool, but that was about it.
He fails. Also, the Foundation is back. That's virtually all you gotta know. But by this point, we were already seeing another comic, that being the Batman 0 Point comics, and the story here isn't too hard to comprehend.
The fact that DC made comics about Fortnite is kind of funny.
Therefore trapping them in the loop. Here, Batman finds Harley Quinn and Catwoman already there, and then his immediate objective is to escape, and the IO, who are looking at Fortnite as a gacha game and this randomly selected of people being dropped into the island, they see they got a mythical Batman, and they don't want to lose that. So the IO drags out Snake Eyes from G.I. Joe, because I guess Kratos was on maternal leave or something, and they fight for a couple hours. Ultimately, Snake Eyes lets Batman go, and from here, he and Catwoman discover a whole bunch of escaped loopers, and they then decide to use the bunkers hidden across the island to try and find the IO main base. And then Fishstick freaking dies, dying to the cold hand of
Damn, that got my boy Fishstick, man. R.I.P. to Fishstick, bro.
And he doesn't respawn. The ending is kinda quick. Deathstroke and Batman fight. This astronaut guy jumps into the 0 point and has his molecules ripped apart, and then everybody escapes. Batman in specific being really depressed. Anyway, moving on. Chapter 2, Season 7, Alien Invasion. Dr. Sloan is here, and she's gonna prepare for the looming...
I don't remember this season that much. I really don't.
For a few weeks, they've been abducting random characters, but now it seems like they're gonna do what every other villain's done. Gotta go get the 0 point. Wow! I wonder what makes this group special. It's actually the last reality. They're relevant to the story now. Honestly, it's a very simple objective. They want to take the 0 point and make every other reality go away. However,
my boy, every single villain wants a 0 point.
As much of an
this is an easy way to write off a villain being here.
In terms of priority between the 3 factions and who we want to support, it goes Foundation and the 7 are always going to be the main priority, then the Imagined Order, because at least then they don't want to kill us and destroy everything. They just want to make it forever never ending, which it's bad, but it's not the worst case scenario. But then the last reality is the only group we objectively want to prioritize and get rid of. We have a preference. Now, Sloan is aligned with the Imagined Order, and we know that because I emphasized that and I spoiled that at the very beginning. This is the point where it would have been confirmed, but it doesn't matter. And unfortunately, the 7 are not necessarily available at the moment for numerous reasons. A good example of Sloan's goals are found in more Batman comics. This one's a bit faster, but essentially the Foundation enters Gotham to aspire...
I'm not going to be able to get over the fact of how relevant Fortnite is. And the fact that Marvel and DC Comics both have made comic books about Fortnite is actually insane. And I wonder how many other series also made Fortnite canon in their shit, which is I'm waiting for like Naruto or Dragon Ball or Attack on Titan or what's the other, Jujutsu Kaisen, My Hero Academia. I hope for them to somehow add Fortnite into their shit. That'd be crazy.
Destroyed in the previous season, and it turns out Sloan and Lex Luthor decided to open up a rift in DC land because the 0 Point is currently out of commission, so the IO is really in shambles. And in the end, though, Foundation uses this to return and get back onto the island, and Batman Who Laughs, this being a Batman villain who's like Joker and Batman combined. I never really cared for him. I don't pay attention to him.
I think he's cool, but yeah, he's just a Batman Joker combined.
Foundation only wants to find Jones, and as this is happening, the island is throwing an Ariana Grande? What? So last reality, is really struggling to find the 0 Point.
It's how you say it. What? It makes no sense, but I went to the concert. It was pretty good.
Any sort of information possible. They get Ariana Grande to perform a concert to do a mind scan of everybody very quickly, because I guess that
I went to the concert. It was pretty cool.
Ariana Grande's alien invasion mind scanning is canon.
The concert was like a big mushroom trip.
Scott were specifically filler activities. Make sure you know the difference. This is filler. This is not. Operation Skyfires.
Nah, I did not go to the Travis Scott one.
Take all the loopers sitting at Coney Complex to get abducted and sent to the alien prison. Then Sloan's gonna hack the cells for everybody, and then Coney Complex is gonna have a bunch of bombs stuck to it, blow up the ship. Instant victory. This part goes swimmingly. Unfortunately, Kevin returns, but those little backpacks hurt our lovable little cube, and now I no longer even remotely like Dr. Sloan, remotely even a tad. And this is the part where she messes up very bad. She decides, yeah, y'all can just die in the scary alien spaceship. I don't give a hoot. I don't give a hoot. As she like opens up a pack of Fun Dip or something. So great. All the loopers are out of the loop and at risk of permadeath in the last reality's giant this thing. As a last resort, they reboot Kevin to be a friendly cube, and as a thank you for removing all the hate and malice from his cubic cubiness, Kevin brings everybody to this giant cube storage room where everybody is safely launched back onto the island with the new cubes. And this makes it so nobody necessarily won the operation, because in the following season and Chapter 2's finale, the cubes
I remember that season. That season was actually pretty good.
Time for the spooky, scary 2021 Fortnitemares event where out pops the Cube Queen. You know, the head of the last reality invasion. Not a big deal.
She's so fucking fine, bro. Oh my god.
To attack the loopers. Another battle begins. Io makes a base to prepare. Cube Queen makes a pyramid with the cubes, and Kevin changed his name to Blevin because he's blue. In the finale, we got the Io, Blevin, and all the loopers versus the Queen. And it's just a straight up gunfight. At first, the last reality had a tremendous lead, with the Queen creating a rift to the last reality armada as they shatter Blevin. This death is a little less impactful. If you bring a character back and then kill them again, it means nothing. This cube has died about 3 times. So meanwhile,
it's going to continue to die too.
Happening, as everything the IO has worked for is at risk, Sloan decides that this is the appropriate time to execute Agent Jones. But the Foundation sneaks in, slaughters some agents, and then he and Jones escape, leaving Sloan to do something I don't even know what it was. Back at the top, the Visitor and the Scientist have been helping to slow down the Cube Queen's invasion, but have to open up a bunker so the loopers can retreat, leading up with everybody regrouping at the bridge where the island
I did not do this live event.
Resides. And desperate times call for desperate measures, my friends. Foundation decides the only way we can stop the Cube Queen is to literally force the rift portal shut by flipping the island over, which somehow
Excuse
has
me,
already
nigga,
completely
what?
established island with its own locations and society, perfect for more Fortnite fighting. Because in Chapter 2, and only in Chapter 2, the realm is flat.
Oh, I do remember this. Never mind. Yeah, I do remember this event, actually. I wasn't there, but...
So both have their own sides, own contents, and the planet is flat, so flipping the island isn't out of the question. And it's a success. Everybody is dragged out of the ocean and watches the island not only flips, but causes the IO to remain trapped on the Chapter 2 side, and the Cube Queen to fail. And then a massive, another massive wave. I think this is the second one. Sweeps.
I love the
everybody
wave.
Water, taking us straight into Chapter 3.
Now everything after
I know.
chapter 2
Now,
becomes a
I
big
know that
blur,
Battle
in my
Royale
opinion.
is easily the thing Fortnite's known for, sure. But one thing we fail to consider during all these goofy all recaps is anything that isn't Battle Royale. Like Fortnite has always tried to be this entertainment titan with all of these characters and special game modes. But we also have to look at the initial intention of Fortnite, that being save the world.
I was gonna talk about that. Funny enough, no one really plays Save the World, actually. I have it. I bought Save the World like 2018, and it was Save the World is fun in my opinion for like the first 2 weeks, maybe a month at maximum. And it kind of feels like zombies a little bit, but just it's not better than COD Zombies. It just isn't, but it's not bad. It's not. I like the base battles; they're cool, but I was kind of expecting for Save the World Fortnite to be a little bit more of what the lore actually is, because Save the World came before Battle Royale, but you know.
Game imprisoned at the very back of the Epic Games game selection, acting as a PvE mode where teams of 4 go up against the monsters created by the storm that somehow managed to slaughter 98% of the population there. Save the World is the mediocre sibling of an A-list celebrity, but we got
pretty much
some love. Plus, it's
the older sibling because it came before Battle Royale.
Characters from Save the World get abducted and added to the Battle Royale as loopers, but in some cases we have people who never get brought over. It's really nice to look at a completely different area and setting, and it gives us a better idea of seeing what specifically the Last Reality is actually capable of, because the Last Reality is entirely responsible for deploying the main thing responsible for the apocalypse, that being the Storm King, which just essentially sweeps in and slaughters billions of people pretty effortlessly. There was an attempt to save the world by a technology company by the name of Vindertech, and I'm shocked this is never brought up. This is an incredibly important company in Save the World and Battle Royale.
Boss,
This
he's
is a
not in
company
Fortnite.
founded by a Dr. Vinderman and is implied to be responsible for the creation of weaponry and technology like the Battle Bus, the Storm Shield, and the V-Buck. That's right.
He made the
company is
V-Buck?
responsible for the creation of one of the most valuable currencies in our modern day. Billions
Deadass.
of real-world dollars have been burned to this icon. Before losing and perishing to the Storm King, Vinderman would invent a helper bot named Ray, who, just like everyone else, would abandon Save the World to be in the Battle Royale. Vinderman
I did not know he was in
before
Battle
he
Royale.
died,
That's
he
funny.
made himself into an AI by the name of Dr. Vinderbot, and eventually that enters Save the World. It's incredible how everyone will abandon their respective realities to go hang out with Goku and Optimus Prime in Purgatory. I
Who
perceive
fucking
Save the
wouldn't,
World like I do
bro?
Battle Royale when it comes to the story, and most live services games for that matter. There will never be a satisfying conclusion because there can't be, because these games rarely know when they're gonna end, so both modes stagnate on decent conflicts that'll eventually be resolved to make room for the next one and continue the loop forever. I have no quarrels with Save the World. It's just that the premise is the story. We don't need to go into the deepest pits of Save the World because it's a reflection of its position in Fortnite. Even though there is something here, maybe even of value, it's left in the dust because of popularity and priority. The only thing I would say worth noting is Vinderman has an assistant named BIZZARE, and she sacrifices herself in one of the many raids of the game, and that's really unfortunate. The initial idea of Fortnite was this, but nobody's gonna give it a chance. I played it. I played it.
It was
fun,
cool.
but it's just how it is, I'm afraid. I'm sure Epic Games have learned from their mistakes and aren't gonna do anything like it again.
But they did, because they made that Lego Fortnite bullshit that no one played.
I set December 5th.
Imagine being
I
able
forgot
to
that
build an app with
Fortnite
your
also
name on
made
it
Rocket League.
just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44, a complete
21.
Now, I forgot
Chapter
Fortnite
3
also
time.
made
Following
Rocket
the
League.
Flip, loopers regroup with the Foundation.
Technically,
where
Rocket
he
League made
shares that if
Fortnite,
you
but-
free the 0 point, everyone can go home. This new island is referred to as the Flipside, so we're gonna stick with it. The first season, like usual, it isn't too bad, just following the 7 as he tries to free the 0 point and locate the Paragym. I'm just gonna say that for the rest of this time. I hope I'm right. I don't care if I'm wrong. And then Chapter 3 was all like, no, you're not gonna get the 0 point that easily, you silly, lovable, iconic character Foundation you, and drills its way from the flip side to the other side. So now there's a war. Our team spends most of it with the 7 while finding the Paragym where possible, whereas the IO makes a collider that is so strong it can destroy everything, because if they can't have the 0 point, nobody can. Simple as that. Oh, did I mention that
villain
there's more
ideology.
comics? There's more comics, by the way. Here's Marvel Zero War.
What the fuck is that?
Destroy the collider.
Are you serious?
Paragym piloted before her disappearance all the way way back in Chapter 1, Season 9. So Spider-Man, Jones, and the Seven all go to respective locations. Some go to a moon, because I guess the Mecha's up there now, while a few characters head over to Earth 6.
Oh, Spider-Man did the iconic pose that he first did when he appeared, when he say, okay, I know, I'm sorry, that's a very iconic pose.
A fragment of the 0 point. And Wolverine, you know, that lovable, stabby knuckle guy, he refuses until the Imagined seduces him.
Okay. That's typically how you beat Wolverine.
The people on the moon get the Perishem pretty easily, learning that she had to work with the IO, or else the Collider would have been built in Chapter 1. We also learned that the IO, like, they already suck, but they super suck. Like the Imagine and her sister were thrown into the loop initially by their father Gino, and immediately got replaced by Snapshots when they didn't win immediately. We also find out the reason for Jones doing any of this is just because he has a 9-to-5. He needs to sustain it. The IO
hey, that's real. That's fucking real.
His family floated. They had
I know the benefits are insane. I know the benefits are fucking insane, bro. They have to be.
And here's something else neat. The Ice King, all the way back at the start, is apparently a good guy. Possibly. He doesn't look like one.
He don't look like one.
He is. Regardless, he was in part responsible for imprisoning the Fire King and Devourer, as they were both considered multiversal threats. Anyway, Dr. Doom from Dr. Doom has the 0 point shard, and then he gets his ass beat. I'm sure this character will never be plot relevant in specific in Chapter 5, Season 4. I guess we'll just have to wait and see, but probably not. And then part of the comic overlaps with the Collision event, where the mech starts smacking up the Collider and hardly save everything as Peely drives in and...
Now I have zero idea about what the fuck this is.
On the Collider, Wolverine, the Imagined, and the Order. Please remember that the Imagined and the Order are good, and the Imagined Order is different and bad. All see Gino actually doing something to forward the plot. And within a few seconds, the Imagined chucks herself and Gino into the 0 point, where Gino just goes, alright, well, if I'm dying, we're destroying everything that's ever existed ever. Meanwhile, at ground level, Jones distracts Dr. Sloan as she gets crushed, supposedly killed off through the mech crushing her. And as Gino and the Imagined are painfully ripped apart to a molecular level, Gino explains he was just trying to make the perfect reality. And I already covered that at the very beginning. We don't care. So the Imagined is implied deceased, Io loses real hard, and Gino is seen reforming in another reality for some unexplained stupid reason. Because they can't kill anyone! They can't kill anyone!
Yeah, no one ever dies in fucking Fortnite.
Season 3. Man, what a stressful collection of events. I'm sure the loopers would love not to escape but enjoy their summer with the 0 point being kind enough to make a big old tree.
What year was Chapter 3, Season 3 made?
Tries to communicate with the 0 point, and near the end, just entirely out of nowhere, the Chrome. Hope you didn't forget about the last reality.
Is that a fucking STD I just saw?
Again. Just like in Save the World and in previous seasons, to destroy. Oh goody. Time to destroy a ton of the story and characters in 2 minutes. The Origin, Scientist, and Visitor all get turned into Chrome. Just a weird substance that liquidates anyone who touches it, who flies away last second and hides with the 0 point. And in addition, Foundation and the Order both go missing, and we don't really know where they are at the current moment. And because of all of this, we're just out of characters that aren't Jones, Peely, Perishem, or Loopers.
Deadass, they just keep on reusing them.
This is the Herald, member of the last reality, and really passionate about the nothing. I wish I could
She bad as hell, too.
But I'm not telling any therapist about Fortnite lore. Chapter 3, Season 4, we're dead. No other way around it, to be honest.
I don't remember. Nah, I super stopped paying attention to Fortnite around this time.
Jones and an AI the scientists made named Amy. This entire season is just coming to terms as the Chrome and the Herald makes its way down to the reality tree and to the fracture event. The Perishem makes a power move with her homeland technology to force the 0 fusion. What this boils down to is essentially just it allows another island to be formed as the Chrome and the last reality explodes the previous one. What this essentially boils down to is that another island is formed via the Chrome. That is the end of Chapter 3. And honestly, that's the last thing the Seven has done. Even though 3 of them are implied to be alive, even though another
fucking
3
Hulk on a
are
bike.
in Chrome, and even though one of them might still be alive because Gino might still be alive because I guess getting your molecules ripped apart, I guess a girl can live through that. This is the fact that the Imagined
Remember, she's
Order
just a
is
girl.
extremely weakened, and the last reality really has nothing going going on because they lost a bunch of their powerhouses. We're in a weird limbo state, and despite how many characters that already exist, so few of them are ever plot relevant from this point forward. So
facts. Like, what about the other default skins? I have yet to hear anything about the other default. Jones is the only important default skin. What's the black guy? What's the Asian guy? Okay, what are they?
Beyond a single event, like Midas is still alive after being eaten by a shark, and nothing's gonna get done about it. I think here especially is where the storyline begins to fade. Like Chapter 2 and the start of 3 use their limited resources and events to tell compelling stories about these 3 factions. And
yeah, if you stretch the word compelling, if you use a stretch on that.
Fortnite is known to do, have extra parties show up and destroy the current one, so nobody goes anywhere, and it's an eternal loop until there's an eventual winner, and then there's just another game. Again, just like Fortnite, they try to juggle everything, and then it gets too hard to maintain. Some of them aren't worth it.
Yeah, they just start deleting shit,
and it falls apart. Oh, but making Fortnite Disney World? Oh no, that one can stay. I wish Save the World was more popular. Chapter 4.
Wait, Fortnite's owned by Disney?
I'll remember this chapter for making
Is Fortnite owned by Disney?
Exclusive on one of the least
I hope
fun
not.
seasons ever produced in the game. Woohoo! So now we're left with only 3 actually important characters. Jones, he's been established, currently just floating in space because of the events at the end of Chapter 3. Then we have Amy, who across the first
This
couple
is like,
seasons
that's a
gets
fucking
body
character?
count and is really just a rep of the 7. And then the Ageless, who is a more chillaxed snapshot of Gino. The first half of the chapter quite literally boils down to Amy failing to find the 7. Allegedly they are still alive. The last reality has all their data scrubbed from all in-game databases. The Ageless sets up rifts because he keeps having scary nightmares about Gino, probably. So in other words, the 7 are just being teased, the last reality is not known about, and they probably won't be, and the imagined order is implied to be controlling everything behind the scenes.
I'm so confused.
We're back in Chapter 1!
What the fuck is... Oh my god. This is getting ridiculous now.
Cool, great. Love him. That's all though. An earthquake reveals a jungle on the island, destroying a marginal chunk of the fall biome, which was near perfect. That was... I love this area. Why would you make it less? Optimus Prime pretends to be plot relevant, and somehow
Pretends to be plot relevant.
Dr. Sloan survives, citing that an eclipse is coming. And I mean, that's true technically. I just think that this is stupid. So we have this additional new guy, Kato Thorne, and he does heists. But also, he is a time-traveling vampire, and also the TikTok guy is here. He makes the funny face.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. I don't understand how the fuck he's in Fortnite. I really don't, to be honest with you. Like, no hate to this creator, because I mean, if I was in Fortnite, you know what I'm saying, I would love it too. But like, they could at least give him a better skin. Like, it's just so random at the fact he's in fucking Fortnite, bro. I think I would probably prefer Bella Porch in Fortnite, honestly.
Dr. Sloan wants the time machine. She does not get it. Kato wants island treasures. He probably gets them. Joan is still flying in space at a perfect time and place. He arrives back on the island and sends himself back to Chapter 1, Season 5 in the Fortnite OG event. By this unfortunate technicality, we have not only figuratively regressed the story into Chapter 1, we have literally lost all our progress.
Yeah, at this point, there is no story. It's a bunch of bullshit.
Except for Kato and Dr. Sloan and Ageless and maybe even Amy have all been sent back to the events of Chapter 1, potentially eradicating them all from the story. Fortnite...
Lord have mercy. This is insane.
Fortnite OG, cool, great, lovely idea. It has doomed the narrative. All of this story...
The narrative is doomed before Fortnite OG, honestly.
And I'll never be happy. Or they'll do it, and then they'll get rid of it for another season. I will be shocked if I am wrong. Oh, but don't worry, Peely's still around. We like Peely, don't we? We don't.
They don't.
Why? I have yet to meet anyone who's pro Peely. I have nothing left except for Jonesy. To be fair, the ending does set up what to realistically expect, with Sloan saying
fucking Fall Guy character.
The future is different. And she basically breaks the fourth wall, looks at the viewer, and says, and I quote, "We are no longer exclusively putting a majority of our resources into the Battle Royale mode or its story. We are just going to hope the plot continues to make sense. We might occasionally bring back characters, but it does not matter since the story is convoluted, and time travel and the multiverse means that we can completely ignore the problems of the plot."
Yeah, just about.
The finale sure is a finale. Chapter 1, Big Bang happens. It's time to introduce the Guitar Hero mode, the Lego mode, and the Rocket Racing mode, which has already been banished to save the world hell. Give it some time.
That's crazy. The Lego Fortnite was shit anyways. I didn't like it. Not at all.
Don't quote me on this, but I don't think the epic Eminem rap battle sing-along event is really gonna save you. So now, here we are. The most recent portion of Fortnite for like 2 or 3 weeks until this thing is instantly outdated. Chapter 5. Now, Jones
We're in
is
chapter
the sole
5?
protector of
Oh my
Fortnite,
god.
leading a
Chapters
new
used to
band
mean
of
something.
loopers. I'm actually not
Now
sure
they use
if
chapters
it's
like
still a thing
seasons.
anymore. It's called the Underground now. Other members include Peely and his fellow industry plant Hope. And Hope is very
Oh, she's
important.
an industry plant
I
too?
don't know why they made Hope so important, but she's more prominent than Jones now. Say hello, she's permanent. We also got Solid Snake from the Metal Gear franchise. Cool. Season 1 follows them trying to rescue Peely because he gets captured by the villain organization of the week, the Society.
The villain organization of the week.
With the goal of finding Pandora's box, which is located on the Chapter 5 island. It will probably be important in Chapter 6. We'll find out. This team
Chapter
is led by
6?
Hope's
What the
sister,
fuck?
Valeria. That sounds like a disease. Additional members of this
It doesn't
dangerous
sound like a
mighty
disease.
league threatening the underground and Peely include Montague, this tiger guy, and Peter Griffin. Peter Griffin.
I
is
forgot Peter
the
Griffin's in
mob
the season.
boss of a high society in Fortnite. I'm glad it was you. But the Pandora's box will eventually show up, and out comes a big bundle of energy and the pantheon of Olympus, who just want to go and play Fortnite. And Valeria.
Now I know
uses this
Kratos
time
was
to
so
drain
pissed
the
when he
bank
seen
accounts
that.
Of everybody in the high society, literally bringing Peter back to square one like a Family Guy episode. And Hope's family's bank account somehow, she gets so upset she shuts down the underground for a month. She like hides in her room, arms crossed in the corner, probably wearing a dunce hat. This season, in specific, sees Zeus get upset that competitive players are bitching on Twitter about the fun seasonal weapons from Avatar. Therefore, they all get tremendously nerfed or temporarily removed because competitive players don't like anything and they like ruining fun and we hate them. So
Hell yeah,
justifiably,
nigga.
Zeus
Ain't nobody
tries to
playing COD for
destroy all
fun.
the
These
loopers
niggas got something to
permanently.
prove.
He fails. He chills out. Now there's a sandstorm. Next season, now we got Megalodon. This is a guy alongside his band of wastelanders. Want to set up a pipeline that'll destroy the island. How riveting! How original! Hope starts grabbing and gobbling up some gems.
I didn't know
Ever
Scarlet
seen
Witch is in the game.
visions? This is your Mary Sue. This is your new protagonist. I hope you're happy. As this is going on, we got another fun, funky little guy, the Wanderer. Just a cloaked fella insisting that Megalodon will succeed, among other things. And guess what? He doesn't. It was a setup, because the Wanderer is a version of Marvel's Doctor Doom. Marvel will never not be relevant to this story.
Yeah,
Chapter
Marvel's
5,
embedded in
Season
Fortnite.
4, August
Is that a
15th,
Peely Wolverine?
2024. The start of the most recent major period in Fortnite's story until Chapter 6 releases. It released last week when this video releases. This
was 8 months
so
old.
basically, Doctor Doom's back.
So-
This time, instead of being randomly summoned and taking over Pleasant Park, he wants Fortnite. Galactus is also dead in the ocean. It's still technically unknown whatever iconic industry plant Hope is gonna do after this, but she works alongside Jonesy, Peely, the X-Men, and anyone else who's technically still alive and on the good guy's side. It's hard to tell anymore. As
Yeah,
for
there's
the
so many
following
characters.
months, the Fortnite gang prepares some graffiti beacons and rifts to stop Doom. And this brings a lot of issues to the island. In exchange for defeating Doom, another Fortnitemares event comes to the island, wrecks everybody's stuff, bang bang boop boop bop bop. Chapter 5 is over. Doom is defeated, and for the sake of money, it's time for new Fortnite stuff. Oh, also Hope, she has magic graffiti. I'm sure this
What the
isn't
fuck
gonna
does that
impact
mean?
the timeline
Magic
one
graffiti.
bit. Snoop Dogg has now
What is your
replaced
graffiti?
Midas in Chapter 2, and
I
Juice
forgot Snoop
WRLD
Dogg's
is
in it.
looming over like Galactus did. This is all a dream. It's not canon, but it might as well be, because
And Ice Spice is there.
I don't know. I just feel like it should be canon. The fact that this event in specific is implied to be a dream is
Crazy.
sure. I'm done though. I've reached the summit of Fortnite for about 2 to 3 more weeks. Fortnite lore is just like the game and the community itself. It's incoherent. It can be very annoying. Sometimes it's very funny. Sometimes I scratch my head in confusion, and sometimes it's borderly baffling to see in real time. But damn it, I enjoy it either way, despite how much of a mess it is. And hopefully, in the future, we can still appreciate Fortnite as much as it is socially acceptable. I would like to see the 7 return, but in the end, Fortnite's story is never gonna end. end. There will never be a satisfying
No,
conclusion.
as long as money exists, it's never gonna end.
I would love to eat my words, but I'm so confident in this fact. So long as there is a fan base to play, there will never be a satisfying ending. Or not, you know, come back on December 7th, 2034. Let me know. Wow, who would have guessed that Fortnite, a live service game working with Disney that gets new content on a weekly basis, updates on a weekly basis? Conveniently, this recap.
Oh my god, dude. Oh my god. Man, the Fortnite lore is everything that I thought it would be. A bunch of confusion. I don't think the story is good. I think that maybe the story was good from probably the initial moment they decide to have lore in like some random part in chapter 1 all the way up to like maybe the end of chapter 2. That was maybe the only good part of where the story was actually somewhat good, but I still will argue that it wasn't even a good thing. You can really tell the Fortnite lore is just a bunch of like, hey man, we want to make lore for the sake of having lore. Let's just add a bunch of bullshit as time go by. I'm not really expecting Fortnite to have like some like groundbreaking story, because I mean that's clearly not what people are playing for. But I just feel like that it would probably be better if they just did a little bit of lore and then completely stopped for a couple of chapters and then they picked it back up instead of like forcing this fucking Fortnite lore that no one really cares about. It's just, matter of fact, I would probably argue the Fortnite lore may be more complicated than FNAF lore. So let me know in the comment section down below, which one do you think is more complicated, the FNAF lore or Fortnite lore? And while you're down there, hit the subscribe button. Just tell people it helps you too. Why do you see content similar to this one? If you guys did subscribe me, I appreciate it a lot. If you guys didn't, I guess we'll part ways. Either way, I go out mine to keep it easy and I'm gone. Peace.
What is, man?